So the original Fox shock seal head or bearing had a two-piece seal in it. This is not, this is an aftermarket one that has been replaced. But the original was made up of a seal and an O-ring, or what appeared to be an O-ring, and they were side by side. And my guess is that that allowed the shock to operate with no pressure and not leak. So the newer type and the aftermarket seals are larger, and they replace the two-piece seal with a single seal. And so that's where things change. I have this shock apart again, and I want to explain something very important. And I'd like to thank the guys at Schmitty Racing for explaining how this seal works. So this is they call it the bearing or seal head, which is the last thing that goes into the top of the shock. And you can see there is a brass bushing in there with the red Teflon or whatever it is. And you can see the space on the other side here. That opening inside, right in here, is where the seal goes. And this is the seal. And you can see it's quite large, so you have to sort of squeeze it and shape it almost like a kidney and get it in, then just play a little bit and it'll snap into place. Now, the side with the rubber bumper on it faces inside, faces the oil in the shock. This is just the outside by the cap. So the seal has to go wide side in. So you can see the seal itself has a bit of a cupping on it. This edge I'm looking at is wider, and it also has a groove. So there's an opening in there, and it's like there's two pieces. So you can see it in that view right there. Now, the reason it's like that, and this is what was explained to me, and now it makes total sense, is once you pressurize the shock, the pressure of the gas with basically atmospheric pressure on the other side, because this is the seal, is forcing this outside lip away to seal against the inside of this housing. It's forcing the inside lip against the shaft. So again, the pressure of the oil on this side is pushing the seal, forcing those edges to seal tight. So if you don't have enough pressure, it won't seal. Now, that being said, I was putting 100 psi in these shocks. I'm now going to put 170 because that's as high as my gauge safely goes. So in any case, I think I also know why it was leaking. And the reason it was leaking is because I had shut the shock off. In other words, I had turned the shock dampener to maximum stiffness. And when you work on these shocks, you realize that when you close that valve, you're shutting the chamber, the pressure chamber, off completely from the shock absorber. So it would take very little work on the side or temperature changes on the other side because you have no compressed gas now. It's only the liquid, and there may have been some pressure, but liquid is not compressible. So you end up with a shock with a pressure chamber. So explain it better here. So this is pressurized. There's oil in the top with the floating piston. The gas is down here, and it's pressurized. Say you put it at 100 or 150 psi. Now, none of that pressure. Once you shut this valve off, no pressure is getting through. It's stopped right here. So after a little bit of working on this side of the shock, there is no more pressure in here if you have that valve shut off. And I believe that's why my shock started leaking so badly, is I had closed them right off. I was on fairly level roads, and I run without the sway bar. So it gives me more stability when the shocks are stiff. So shutting that off, no pressure, seal no longer is held in place, it will start to leak. So my suggestion would be, and I'm going to test this again, is never close this all the way. I'm always going to leave it a few clicks open now. Like I think there's 20 clicks on there. I'm going to leave it minimum of 5 so that the pressure remains pushing against the seal and preventing the shock from leaking. So hope that helps somebody, and I hope I'm right with this because it explains everything now. but it's very simple to understand when you actually look closely at the seal and see how they go in there and how they work. Anyway, hope that helps someone.